Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a global gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call, and welcome to, Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
Howdy.
And we have Craig Lewis, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. You're wearing one of the coolest shirts ever. It's my favorite training shirt right now, to be honest. It just fits so well. I love that shirt. It's the red. It's the heather red from American Apparel. Super awesome. Anyway, and you got the banner. Loving it, man. So how about you take it from here with an introduction on, who you are, what you do for a living, how you train, all that good stuff.
Right. Well, I'm Craig. I work as an account manager for a utilities company. Nothing particularly exciting. Basically, customer service and making sure everything runs smoothly. Been a Garage Gym Athlete now for about a year. Although I've had my setup for about 3 years now. But you've been on your program for about a year, and that's so I train, wife, 2 kids, so the garage is perfect for me. It just allows me to get a bit of headspace and actually get some training done, whereas I just wouldn't get out of the house to a regular gym. So
that's awesome. So what were you doing before you were training in your garage?
Well, I played rugby for years, pretty much since I was 6 years old, up until 2 years ago when my son was born. I decided to give it up then. So it was predominantly that. I was really training twice a week with the rugby club. Did a few weight sessions and different bits and pieces, but never really did much weights-wise up until then. But played pretty much every sport I could through school. Anything I had the opportunity to do, whether it was basketball, volleyball, football, but rugby was always my main one. But that's pretty much my sporting background.
Awesome. And where are you located?
Just a place outside of Glasgow called Motherwell in Scotland.
Okay.
So apologies for the accent.
No, man, I appreciate it. I love it when we get international, and I don't think we had yet this season, right, Joe? I think.
I don't remember. I don't know if Canadians count.
No, they're not far enough away. Well, and it's awesome, man. I think really just technology is awesome. The fact that we're all chatting right now is awesome. So tell me a little bit about your equipment setup, how your garage gym operates, what you have, and where you're.
So this is kind of my second setup. So initially I just bought like a package from a company in Britain called Powerhouse. We basically got a rack and a bench and a barbell and some plates, and that was my start. And then when I started your program, that's when I started doing it properly seriously, and I've kind of upgraded since then. So I've actually went down from the full rack. I went to a half rack, which just gives me a lot more space.
Makes sense.
So got that with weights up to 150 kilo worth of bumpers. I've got a pile of various kettlebells.
It looks so pretty.
Yeah, I know. I like a bit of organisation. I've got the rower folds out, the adjustable dumbbells as well, bench, box, and I've got a sandbag recently as well. Wife got me that for my birthday, so that's pretty cool. 75 kilos.
Yeah, that looks like a heavy one.
Yeah, it's pretty significant, so it's good. Couple of different various bars, and I recently got an air down as well. I picked that up off a Gumtree, which is just a horrible piece of kit, to be honest, but it's good in a horrible way. So yeah, just kind of picked different bits and pieces up. As I say, I've had my garage gym for about 3 years now, so it's just been kind of accumulating over time. I got a little bit addicted to kind of Gumtree, which is effectively your Craigslist, and just kept looking on there, and that's where I got all my kettlebells and the rower and different bits and pieces. So, but yeah, it's my little kind of space of heaven, really.
Yeah, man,
maximizing your space.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah, it's a small UK garage. It's about 8 feet wide roughly. So I had the rack initially was facing the other way, but it really didn't give a lot of space at the side for any kind of error. So that's why I went for the half rack and turned it, because you couldn't even really get a car in here. You wouldn't be able to open the doors. You'd be stuck in the car.
Right.
So it's just maximising what you can while still managing to keep the golf clubs in the extra fridge freezer. As in every garage.
And the calendar behind you, is that for keeping track of your training, or what are you doing there?
Yeah, so that was actually for one of the new goals that I set this year. So that was off the back of the stuff you guys were talking about. You said you'd set a goal to do 250 workouts this year. I think was one of the ones you mentioned. So I set one as well to try and do 200. So every day that I do a workout, it's just kind of mark out the number I've done and tick it as I'm going through. And I find it's quite good. So it just reminds you as you come in, it's almost like day after day, you can see how much you're achieving. And I mean, I think, to be honest, I probably need to revisit my goals. I'm at 58 already for the year. So I think I'm going to quite comfortably hit the 200 mark. So no, I'm pretty chuffed for that. And that's really just doing the 5 a day for you guys, or 5 a week for Garage Gym Athlete. And then there's occasional runs and stuff that I'm kind of doing as well. So I like to do kind of 10Ks and stuff like that when they come up in the round area. So do a little bit of extra cardio when I can.
That's awesome. And I think that's a really great goal, especially if you're following programming like ours, or some structure at least. Then the only goal you really need after that is like, okay, how many training sessions can I get in this year? And, because the programming is taking care of you. I think that's an awesome goal, and a great way to track it. I need to get a calendar like that. I'm keeping track of it in like a little bit of an archaic way in my notebook.
It was just, I saw it on Amazon. It was virtually nothing. It was probably like $2 for you guys. So I was like, yeah, it's easy. Stick it on the wall and it's just out the way. So
that's great, man. So we kind of talked about your goal. Is that your big goal for the year then? Is it getting in those 200 sessions and beyond?
Yeah, that's the kind of main one. I've got lots of kind of smaller individual ones. There's quite a few kind of events and things I'm wanting to do. I'm doing like a Tough Mudder, and I've done quite a few Tough Mudders, but it's really just trying to kind of complete all the obstacles as you go through them, because you get to some of them and you halfway across the monkey bars and you fall. So it's stuff like that, try to achieve them. There's obviously recently there's a gym close to me as well that started doing kind of novice strongman competitions, and there's one coming up towards the end of the year, so I've kind of got that in my calendar as well. It's something I'd quite like to just try out. Not that I've any aspirations of being a strongman or winning any competitions, but I think it'd just be a cool experience to do something like that. And the kind of main one as well was just to kind of get to and stay at competitor level for your kind of the Fit Week stuff. So I'm kind of at it for 2 or 3 of them, but it's just trying to push the rest of them towards that, and kind of just use them as kind of benchmarks. Yeah,
and that's just a great goal, I think, to keep you super well rounded is shooting for different levels and within our system of going from established to competitors, the hardest jump, but I think a very worthy goal. I think that's really awesome. All right, so how do you like training in your garage? I'm guessing you like it, but how does it work out for you, weather wise and time wise and everything else?
Well, time wise is fine. Even I've just had my second kid 6 months ago, so my wee girl's she's coming up in 7 months now, and I've got a wee boy who's 2. So I've had the gym pretty much the entire time we've had our first kid, and I was kind of sporadic with it to begin with. I used it a little bit. I was still playing rugby for a while, so I wasn't using it as much as I should. But then when I stopped playing rugby, I started properly using it. I was doing kind of like the strong lift stuff and just kind of doing basic, barbell work. But I never was really consistent until I started the Garage Gym Athlete stuff in about February. And it just kind of keeps you accountable with the workouts. And I know they just kind of way my mind works. Anytime I miss a workout, I feel really bad about it and I want to try and do it again. So if I miss Mondays, I go, right, okay, the Monday's now my rest day. I've got to shift the rest of the workouts to get it in. And it's just, I mean, like I said, I played rugby for, basically 25, 26 years, and stopping doing that, I've always been active and always been into sport, so needed something to keep me going, and the garage is perfect. I'm pretty self-motivated, so even training on my own, it's not a problem. And temperature-wise in Scotland, it does get cold, but it's a new build house, so it's pretty well insulated, so 2-3 minutes warm up and you're absolutely fine, you're ready to go. So no, it's pretty good, but yeah, I would struggle to go back to a commercial gym now, just even with the stuff that the things that you like to do, barbell complexes and things like that. You just people just look at you weird if you're anywhere else. I work away sometimes, and I've been in a couple of hotel gyms, and there's just people just give you strange looks when you try and do anything that's not just a dumbbell curl or a press or something. So no, I definitely like the garage. I think I would struggle to go anywhere else.
Yeah, they just don't understand. They don't understand.
No.
All right, man. So you said you played rugby for a good amount of time. I would just love to hear a little bit more about that, and how you got involved, and maybe some takeaways from like an athletic standpoint.
Yeah, well, I mean, I started literally when I started primary school here in the UK, which is as soon as you come out of nursery, you go straight into primary, and that would have been about 5 or 6 years old. Obviously, it's just predominantly touch rugby at that point. There's no real contact. It's just all skill based, and that was just one of the guys that was friendly with at school. He was doing it. His dad coached it and got me into it, and then I never looked back. I just stayed in it for up until, as I say, 2 years ago. I'm 34 now, so that's a fair number of years. I played with the same club the whole time, just my local team. We were at quite a decent level for a few years. Played up at it was Premier 3, which is kind of like the third division in Scotland, below the professional sides. There's 2 pro sides, and then there's kind of amateur and semi-pro leagues. So we got to a reasonable level. Kind of highlight, I suppose, of the careers. We had an unbeaten season. We went 22 games in a row and won that. So that was pretty cool. And I've kind of had a strange experience in rugby as well, given that I'm still quite a big guy, but I used to be a really, really big guy when I was at school. I was, around 21 stone at one point, which is, close to 300 pounds for you guys. And, so I started playing rugby, and I played prop for like pretty much predominantly my school career, which is maybe for kind of like American football reference would be more like a kind of defensive lineman. But then I lost a ton of weight, lost over 100 pounds, and basically I played every single position at one point or another for our first 15. So that's from 1 to 15, from prop to standoff. So kind of going from like a defensive lineman to a quarterback type idea. So that's probably like it's kind of my biggest achievement. It's just kind of always been well rounded with it, and just love it. Rugby's a great sport. It's so team orientated. There's so many takeaways for life, really, because you get what you put out of it. What you put in, you get out. You work hard. You need to train. You need to be physically fit to do it. So yeah, just love it. Love playing it, and I do miss it, but I don't miss being sore for 2 or 3 days afterwards. Just getting to the stage where I was just getting injured, and I was missing 6-7 weeks, and I was coming back, getting an injury again, so I couldn't train, and it just wasn't the same. All the guys I used to play with had all kind of stopped playing, and it was different groups of young boys coming through, and I just decided it was time to hang up my boots before it caused me any serious problems. And but no, I'd highly recommend rugby to anybody as a sport.
Yeah,
rugby, you run almost just as much as soccer players, but you got to have a lot more meat on you than soccer players do.
Yeah, you definitely do. That's the thing as well. The sport's got a lot more kind of professional over the last 5-6 years as well. So the size of the guys that you were playing against got a lot bigger. So it's there's a lot more weight training involved now. I wish actually that I had started this type of training when I was properly playing, kind of 16, 17 years old, because I played a little bit of kind of regional rugby, and I had trials for kind of Scotland under 16s and 18s, but I was more interested in going out and drinking with my friends than going to the gym. So if I'd knuckled down, you never know. But yeah, I wish I'd found the weight room sooner.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's I've only ever I mean I haven't played rugby that much. I've played like practice. I had a friend, so we had a rugby team in college, and I had a friend who was on the rugby team, and he just knew I was fairly athletic and wanted me to play like in one of their scrimmages, and I had no idea how to even play the game, and basically just got my ass handed to me the whole time.
Yeah, it's pretty it's pretty difficult for somebody just to pick up and play. I always think unless you've played it as a kid, it's it's hard to explain that you can only pass the ball backwards, and as soon as somebody goes to deck, you've got to leave the ball. It just blows people's minds sometimes. And I'm sat in the pub a few times watching it with people that just play football, and they're just like, why is he not doing that? And they just don't understand. It's a kind of cult thing. It really is.
Yeah, put me in and I'll break every rule there was just on accident. Because all right, man. Oh, well, I'd like to know. So you have young kids. Like, how is juggling your training with your kids and family life?
Yeah, it's just finding time. I mean, it's when we had our first boy. I mean, I was mostly training at nights. Did maybe one morning, but I could quite easily, especially when he was young, he was in his bed, and I could come in, get a session, and it was still fine. But now that we've got the two, I just try to train in the morning. So I just get to bed earlier, and I'm up most mornings between kind of 5:30, get my 50 minutes to an hour in, and then that's me for the day. It just kind of sets me up. It was tough to get into. Took me probably a good month before I was enjoying getting out my bed for it. But now, like, the alarm goes, it's like, right, it's gym time. It's just go. And I'm just kind of in the way of it now. But just fitting around. I mean, some mornings where the kids have had a terrible night, and you're just like, right, it's not happening today. They've not been up. You just go, right, okay, I'll just refocus. Then I try and hit it at night if I can. But if I don't, then I'll get it in another day. I just squeeze it in as best I can. I was quite bad with myself to begin with. If I ever missed a session, I was really wanted to get in and do it again. But I'm a bit more lenient now. If I miss one, I miss one. It's life happens sometimes. I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not training for anything. It's just to stay healthy and do the best I can. So if I miss a day, it's not going to kill me. It's not going to set me back too much.
Yeah, it's a fine line. And I find myself in that position that you're talking about earlier a lot of times, is like having to shift around my schedule. Like something unexpected happens, especially with young kids, and it's like, okay, well, if I can't train today, then today will be my rest day. That day won't be my rest day, and I find that works out most of the time anyway. So I think you just have to be flexible and know that it's okay when you have young kids, because that's just what's going to happen with life.
Yeah. I have to mix the days up sometimes as well. If there's any kind of cardio heavy days where I've got to use the rower or the dime, can't do that in the morning because my little boy's bedroom's literally right above the garage. So there's a couple of times that I've been banging away on the rower, and then all of a sudden he wakes up and I'm like, right, okay, that doesn't do. So I save my kind of cardio heavy days for the weekend so that I don't get in trouble. That's the next thing. I normally get a text message from my wife going, "You've woken him up," so that's all stopped.
I don't think we've talked about that on the podcast before, but that's been true. I don't know how many different garage gyms I've had now, but like that's always been true. Like there'll be like even now, like if it's like heavy deadlifts, I can do them, but I have to control the weight down.
You can't go properly heavy.
I'm going to be working out at like 5 a.m. then the weight needs to touch the ground softly. So I can't just be like banging it around because I'm going to wake up somebody who shouldn't be awake yet. And I don't think we've really had to talk about that, but it's always a consideration of the location of the garage gym to which sleeping kid or whatever. So yeah, that's always a huge consideration. That's awesome that you shift your workouts around for it. Now, what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
Well, I'd probably say it's probably back when I was playing rugby. I mean, we used to do some serious heavy training sessions, and I don't think there's ever been an occasion where I've been sick after a session, but we did something used to do something pre-season called the Destroyer, which is kind of like, I suppose, suicides in basketball, where you're running like every line on the court, but obviously a rugby pitch is a lot bigger than a basketball court. You know, you're talking 100 meters pretty much side to side, and it's basically just shuttles. So you're going from the dead ball to the try line, back to the dead ball, then to the 5, back to the 22, back to the 10, to the halfway, so on and so forth. And it just added the extra element is you're doing it as lined up as a team, and it's always in pre-seasons. It's generally when it's a new coach, and you're just kind of, you're getting absolutely blasted, but you're at the same time you're trying to save something, but not save something because you don't want the guy that's playing your position to do better than you. So I'd say that's probably the toughest that I've had, because it's just running and just turning, and you never knew how many you were doing. You know, it was always right, you're going to do one, and then right, you're doing another, or you could be doing another. There was no like end in sight. So that was probably the kind of hardest running type of cardio session I've ever done. But since I got the Airdyne, I did the condition meet the grave with all the machines, and that just destroyed me. I'd done it a couple of times before, but it was like the box step ups, and I had the rope, so it was fine. But once you do the calories on the bike, that was just, it was something else. I was about an hour and a half or something. It was about a 90-minute workout, and that was pretty tough. Whereas before I'd done it in about 70 minutes, I was thinking, yeah, it'll be fine, but calories on that thing are just horrific.
Yeah, the full RX version of that kicks up a few notches once you have all the machines for it, for sure. All right, in your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Having kids.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love them to bits, but they challenge you in ways you didn't know was possible at times. Especially when I have to get a 2-year-old now, and he's discovered the word why for every question. Anytime he asks anything, you get why about 10 times afterwards. And to not lose your cool takes a lot of mental toughness, not just to say just because. So yeah, definitely having kids.
Yeah, and then when they get like just a little bit older, if I say that, my kids respond with, "That's not an answer." So they
yeah, that's the next level. Yeah, we've not got there yet. Yeah, I've got a daughter now as well, and I hear girls are much worse, so I've got that to look forward to in the future as well. So
yeah, oh yeah. All right, man. If you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I probably would always say a barbell, but I'm very recently maybe switched to kettlebells. I love training with the kettlebells. I just think it brings a new dynamic. But if I was really pushed, I'd probably say barbell and plates. There's nothing better than doing a heavy deadlift. It's great.
Love it.
You might need to expand your garage a little bit, but what would you add to your garage if you could add anything?
I think if it was to fit in this space, I think the only other thing I could really put in would be a skier. Because if you mount it to the wall, I don't think it would take up too much room. Maybe move a few things about. But yeah, fancy one of them. I used it a few times in the kind of commercial gym I was in for a while, and really quite liked it. It was a really good workout. But pretty much anything Concept 2 makes, I'm on the lookout constantly for a Concept 2 rower, but there's never anything comes at a decent price around here. So, but yeah, anything Concept 2, but probably the skier would be the first one I go for.
Yeah, I have a skier again on my radar, so I'm gonna. It'll be sooner rather than later, I hope. And Joe's gonna just, like we've talked about before, break his Airdyne and get a new one. I think
it's really close. It's popping even more now.
All right, man. Well, a lot of garage gym athletes all around the world. You're in a completely different country right now. People listening to it everywhere. What would your best advice be for all the garage gym athletes out there listening right now?
Get a program and stick to it. I did a lot of programs before I tried you guys, and a lot of them were kind of stuff I got off like rugby coaches and things I found online that were basically free. And I did it for a while, but then just kind of chucked it. Whereas I find actually paying for a program makes me more accountable, because I'm like, well, I'm paying for this, I'm going to use it. So I think that helps as well. I would say get a program and stick to it, and don't be afraid to pay for one, because it gives you that extra level of accountability where if I'm paying for this every month, then yeah, I'm going to use it. And I think that's really helped me, is just pick a program and stick to it, and just do it.
Love it, man. Well, it's been a blast having you on as our first international guest this season. And yeah, I really appreciate you being here and for your time and for being a Garage Gym Athlete.
Thanks, it's great. Cheers.